built an entire platform off of copying other people, not like taking inspo from someone. No, I mean like actually copying people, and I'm the main target. Yay. Let me show you what I mean. So we've seen butterfly resin tops, but this is a bow butterfly resin top.
I love a good resin top, so when I saw this bow butterfly resin top,
It's a UV reactive dress.
let's style this UV reactive dress.
It has that same pink iridescent look with all these gold accents.
See this opalescent pearly pink bag to go with. The details are
It feels like jelly.
actually like jello.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Pop, 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 pop.
This is so wild to me because of the effort that has to go into committing to copying somebody. Not only are you repeating somebody's words and mimicking their mannerisms, but now you're also copying their outfits. This is so premeditated that you are searching for, paying for, ordering the exact same clothing pieces as somebody else in order to be able to copy them identically. This feels like really unhinged, unhealthy behavior. This feels like it goes beyond just copying to me. We're crossing into impersonation territory. Today's topic has to do with something that's been bothering me for a while, and I've been collecting examples of this slowly but surely for months. And that is, I feel like social media content is becoming so unoriginal, and we're crossing a line between simply gaining inspiration from others to straight up copying other people's content, particularly in short form content like Instagram Reels or TikTok videos. You'll see creators come up with like a funny, cool, unique concept for a piece of content, and then it performs really well, it gets a lot of views and engagement, and then before you know it, other creators start to copy it almost verbatim, like word for word, frame for frame, caption for caption, as a way to capitalize on that virality and popularity for themselves. Essentially, they're letting other people do like the hard creative work of making something original. They're letting other people provide the template, and then they're going copy, paste. I'm gonna make the exact same video too because I saw how well it performed for you and I want views and attention too. And this is gonna be a tricky topic to navigate because there is nuance to it, as with many things I talk about on my channel, and I definitely don't want this to come across like I'm gatekeeping or telling people like what you can and cannot post or the right and wrong way to do things. I'm just noticing something more and more when I'm scrolling on Instagram and TikTok particularly, where I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like I've seen this video before. Somebody else posted this exact same format of video and you're like the second, third, sometimes fourth creator I have seen posting the same thing. And from a viewer standpoint, it becomes frustrating and I feel like it ruins the social media experience. What's the point in scrolling on social media if it's all just regurgitated content that you feel like you've already seen before? That takes a lot of the fun out of it. And I recognize like scrolling on social media, not really a healthy habit. I definitely do it way more than I should, and I feel like it does like suck a lot of the life and energy out of me, but it can be nice sometimes to just sit there and zone out, check out, scroll through Reels, scroll through TikTok, and be entertained by whatever it is that's popping up for you. And it becomes a lot less entertaining when you feel like you've seen it all before. There is like participating in a social media trend where a lot of different people are contributing to one viral moment, and then there is copying somebody's original work. And there is a difference, it is a slight difference, but what I'm not really talking about in this video are viral trends. So the commentary in this video is not really focused on like those who participate in a viral trend or even multiple people who all like commentate on a similar viral situation. That happens a lot in the commentary space that I'm included in, right? There's like something crazy that happens on social media and then all the commentary creators kind of jump on that topic to cover it in their own way, with their own flair, with their own presentation style. Like, I don't really feel like that is an example of copying. What I'm more so talking about in this video is, oh, I like that TikTok video you posted. I'm going to recreate it frame for frame for myself and post it on my own account as if I came up with it myself. So I have a lot of those examples that I'm going to show you in this video, and we're also going to be talking about the ethics of copying in the social media space and if there's really anything to be done about it. Because it is plagiarism by definition. If you are stealing somebody's words, ideas, editing style, whatever it might be, and you are copying it and trying to pass it off as your own without providing credit to the original source, you are plagiarizing. And plagiarism was drilled into us as students as one of like the worst ethical violations you could ever commit, right? Cite your sources, put it into your own words. Like, there were whole units in school dedicated to teaching students how not to plagiarize. We were taught that plagiarizing someone else's work could result in academic penalties, like maybe you get a failing grade on that assignment, a failing grade in the class. You might be breaking the school's honor code. You could get kicked out of your school or out of your college program in some cases. I don't know about you, but in high school and college, there was like a plagiarism checker that my professors made us run our essays through before we were able to submit it. And it had to be under a certain percentage of similarity between other sources on the internet in order for it to even be considered to be graded by the professor. Like, it was taken so seriously, right? So it's a bit wild that plagiarism can be punishable in academic or professional settings, but on the internet, it's the wild, wild west and nobody has a hold on this. There isn't really anything to be done. There are no consequences, and therefore copying people's work runs rampant because nobody is being held accountable. So there are lots of different facets of this conversation that we're going to get into today, but first, a moment for today's sponsor, Bombas. Bombas is a comfort-focused premium basics brand that makes the most comfortable versions of the things that you wear every single day. They've got socks, underwear, bralettes, t-shirts, and slippers that are all designed to feel good, but also to do good. With every purchase, Bombas donates a clothing item to somebody experiencing homelessness. They have donated over 150 million pairs of socks, underwear, and t-shirts across a network of over 4,000 organizations in all 50 states. You've heard me rave about their socks for months now. They are the only socks that touch my feet. I transformed my entire sock drawer to Bombas as soon as I tried them because there really is no going back. But I've not had a chance to tell you about their bralettes and underwear yet. I really like the Bombas no-show line, both the bralette and the underwear. They really are no-show, just like the name says. I never thought there would come a day where I'd be showing my underwear on camera before, but I need you to see for yourself how nearly invisible these seams are. This is a pair of the underwear from their no-show line, and I don't even know how this is possible. Look at how razor thin that seam is. Blink and you might miss it because it is barely there. And this is the matching bralette, same thing here. This is going to be virtually invisible under your clothes. They're still very well made and durable, but it's going to feel like you're wearing absolutely nothing. Bombas also has unmatched customer service. They have a 100% happiness guarantee, which means you get free returns and exchanges for any reason. Upgrade your essentials with the comfort of Bombas. New customers get 20% off their first purchase by going to bombas.com/Hannah Alonso and using code Hannah Alonso at checkout. Thanks, Bombas, for sponsoring today's video. I think before we get into the examples of copying, it's important to have a brief discussion about social media trends because, again, this is not really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about copying. Social media trends can include dances to the same viral song, a meme format, a prompt, a challenge, where yes, many people are creating very similar types of content, but it's all contributing to this larger trend of the time. It's widely recognizable as a trend and it's not traced back to one original identifiable source. One example of this is the Chanel dance trend that is huge right now. The song Chanel by Tyla. People have been posting their own videos with their own spin on this choreography. No idea where this choreography came from, but many people are jumping on this opportunity to use the viral trending audio to film themselves dancing to it. And as we know, dance trends are very, very popular on social media. And they're kind of cool because everyone has their own style and they add their own spin to it. So even if you're watching the same dance, technically, it can feel different because of who is performing it. Another example is the make them think it's a picture challenge, where you hold still at the beginning of the video for several seconds and then you start moving to prove that it's not a picture, it's actually a video. Again, this is a trend. It's a challenge that a lot of people are participating in. A few months ago, that outfit change trend was really popular with that really annoying song that was like, emergency, emergency, paging Dr. Beat. Then every beat that you kick your legs out, you're like switching a different outfit, different style, whatever it is. And again, same song, same trend, same movements, but you're adding your own original flair to it. Another popular one is the paint your spouse date night challenge, where you sit across from your partner and you're each drawing portraits of each other and then you show each other the end results and they're always hilariously bad. And in all of these examples, yes, the core of the content is the same. Same song, same challenge, same choreography, whatever, but it's a viral trend because everybody has something slightly different to offer the space. You add your own spin on the choreography, you show off your own painting, you show off your own style. You're making little creative tweaks to the content, therefore transforming it. And it's that transformational aspect that is the most important, that differentiates between a trend and copying. You could argue that trends still are kind of annoying to watch because it's basically like seeing the same thing over and over and over and over again, but trends are meant to be replicated. That is the goal of them. Like, we're all participating in this communal experience of trying out the same challenge or trying out the same choreography or whatever. The examples of what I believe to be copying that I'm going to show you in this video do not give off the vibe that they were intended to be replicated. Here's where the line starts to get crossed for me. I see the most copying happening within the like parenting, motherhood genre. If you follow one parenting influencer on TikTok or Instagram, you may as well be following them all because they all steal each other's video concepts and repurpose them. It is crazy. This video says, get ready with me as a mom. And it's a mom standing in front of her bathroom sink holding a baby in one arm, and then she's splashing water on her face with the other hand as like a, you know, really quick form face washing situation. Then she grabs her toothbrush, she does a really quick brush with no toothpaste, and then she leaves the bathroom. And the humor in this is that moms, especially stay-at-home moms, have very, very little time for themselves. And some days this really is all you can manage to get done for yourself. This is a way of kind of commiserating and poking fun at something that's not really funny, but it is the reality of your life right now, so that at least we can laugh at it, right? This is a very relatable thing to many parents and something that they would find particularly funny. I found it funny the first time I saw it. I related to it, and then it got a little less funny the second time I saw it, and even less funny the third time I saw it. This feels like it errs more on the side of copying than it does a trend, because each person who recreates it is not adding anything new to it, right? They're not putting their own spin on it. They're literally captioning it even the same exact thing, mimicking doing the exact same movements, frame for frame. These are the same video in essence. And this is what contributes to the whole, wait, I feel like I've seen this before feeling, because you literally have. Maybe not from this creator, but you saw it from a different creator last week. For all intents and purposes, this is the same content that you're watching. It's just a different person acting out the part, a different username posting it to their own account. And it sucks because it is a silly video that somebody had to conceptualize for themselves. It was original at one point, but viewers will likely never know who that is. It should also be noted that none of those three creators I just showed you tagged or gave credit to the person they saw this from first. They are perfectly fine letting their followers believe that they came up with this funny idea, and they are okay taking credit for a concept that's not theirs. Here's another example.
This is what I do after I put my kids to bed to be prepared for the next day.
And again.
All right, the kids are finally in bed. Now let me show you my nighttime routine that helps me get a head start on tomorrow.
And again.
Once the baby is asleep, this is how I get a head start on tomorrow.
And one more time, just for good measure.
Everything I do after bedtime to get a head start on the next day.
Funny? Yes. Relatable? Yes. Original? No. I feel silly even having to stop and like show you these back to back to back, because I know it probably sounds like a broken record and very redundant, but that's exactly the point. None of these videos offered anything unique. I could have shown you one and it would have been like you saw them all. There's no need to watch the second, third, fourth version because they're all the same, right? And that's precisely why I feel compelled to make this video, because I am tired of consuming countless versions of the same thing. It weakens the overall social media experience, and it makes me feel like I'm living in this world where nothing is original anymore. Everyone is turning into clones of one another, and there is less creativity and less originality on the internet than ever before, it feels like. Oh my gosh, this one. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've seen this reel. I swear I have seen this video recreated at least 20 different times. Rather than setting your kid in front of the TV while you go and do dishes, you make them do the dishes while you watch TV instead. And I can see why this is such a viral format, because it starts out as kind of like parenting rage bait, right? If you're a parent, you might start out on the defense watching this because it's sort of like acting like it's about to shame moms for utilizing the TV to get things done. But then it turns into this heartwarming moment for a second of like, oh, cute, include them in the chores, right? Like, don't distract them, include them in what you're doing. And then slam dunk funny moment when you go sit on the couch while you make them do the dishes, right? It's a great format. I admit it has all the components of a viral video because it gives you that like emotional whiplash where you don't know where it's going. And it also makes light of some of those challenges in parenthood. And I can see why people have recreated it so much. And that's exactly the motivating factor behind wanting to recreate it, because somebody out there, I don't know who, had the original idea for this video, they posted it, and it likely performed super well because it's really creative and really funny. And other people likely saw it performing super well, and so they just copied it in the hopes that it would bring their own platform the same levels of engagement that the original did. Another place I see a lot of copying is within the mom hack accounts. I don't really know what else to call them, but usually their videos are titled "Things I Wish I Knew as a First-Time Mom," and then the whole video is them doing some kind of like outlandish, rage-baity type hack or tip, and they're setting up the video like this is supposed to be useful information that you can use in your motherhood journey, but typically they end up being not that great of a tip or something really out there, and the video is more so to shock you in like a rage bait type of way than to actually inform you of something useful. And most of the time there's no explanation involved, so you just have to infer what the tip could be. Like you're watching them carry out all these different steps and you have to like come up with the idea for yourself as to what this all means and why they're doing this in the first place. These accounts remind me a lot of that like 5-minute craft account that was super viral a number of years ago, where they're just showing you these stupid, pointless crafts that take a ton of effort and a million different steps, and the final product isn't even cool or useful at all, but that doesn't matter because the purpose of the video is to hook you in at the beginning and drag you along so you watch all the different steps until you're super disappointed at the end and you realize that they have just baited you into watching this several minute long video for pretty much no reason. And the weirdest part is that all of these mom hack accounts have these really generic usernames like motherhood something or mom something. They're always faceless accounts. They never show their face. It's always just their hands doing something. And all of these accounts just straight up copy each other's content. It is so weird and so wild. Here's an example. This video is titled "Things I Wish I Knew as a First-Time Mom," and she's holding up a drinking straw to her baby's foot while the baby is sleeping, and they're cutting the straw the length of their foot and then presumably like putting it into her purse so that she can take it to the store or something. And you can use that straw to measure new shoes that you're hoping to buy for your child to see if they're going to fit or if they're going to be too tight or whatnot. Again, the tip is never explicitly explained. That's just the inference I'm making from watching this series of steps. Like, I think this is to measure your child's foot to fit them for shoes. And it's like if one of these accounts posts it, then the others have to follow suit. I don't know who came up with this idea originally, but all of these motherhood tips accounts recreate the exact same video nearly frame for frame. These are all different children, different mothers posted to different accounts. Here's another example of a hack for Crocs, but again, the hack isn't explained. You put a Ziploc bag into your kid's Crocs, you fill that bag with water, and then you freeze it until it's solid. Then you take the ice bag out of the Crocs once it's frozen, then you find a scrunchie. You dismember the scrunchie, you remove the elastic from the inside, and then you feed the Croc strap through the scrunchie and reattach it. Most people in the comments of this video are confused. This comment says, "What was the purpose of the water?" and over 27,000 people liked that comment, implying that over 27,000 people were also confused about what this tip is even for. I assume that the ice is a way to maybe expand your kid's Croc if it is too small or something. These shoes are made of rubber and water expands as it freezes, so maybe if you fill the rubber shoes with water and then you freeze it, it's gonna sort of like force the rubber out. That's my only thing that I can think of. And then maybe the scrunchie is to add some like extra comfort to that rubber strap around the heel if these shoes are too small or something, but that's the thing. There's never any context given. So viewers are left sitting watching this whole thing through, waiting to see what the catch is or what the helpful tip is, and they never really get an answer. And then they spend more time in the comments trying to figure it out, right? And this is completely strategic. It's a way to farm engagement on these types of posts. There is a high comment volume, there is a high watch time, and also a high view count, which just translates into more and more money for these creators. And as I'm sure you've guessed, here it is posted by two other mom hack accounts as well, doing the exact same thing, step by step, frame by frame. And what you can't tell from these clips, because I had to cut out the copyrighted music in the background, is that they're all using the same song too. Literally, if you've seen one of these, you've seen them all, because it's the exact same process with the same song overlaid on top, no originality whatsoever. That's because the name of the game is to go viral with these types of videos that naturally do get a lot of engagement and views. They're already kind of primed to go viral. And if you see that this is working for somebody else, you're going to try and copy it for yourself to try and get the same result. These accounts really bother me because at surface level, they look like they're trying to be helpful, but actually they're just faceless content farms. Their main goal is to farm engagement by reposting other people's ideas, not to actually provide practical tips to parents, which is really frustrating from a viewer standpoint, because I feel like if you're gonna actually go as far as to like follow these accounts, it's probably because you're interested in seeing new, original, unique ideas. But in actuality, what you're getting is as far away from original as you can get, because all of these accounts just regurgitate each other's ideas. The main motivation behind all of this copying behavior is views, which is the main motivation behind all social media, right? And it's hard to come up with something that's really unique and interesting and something that people want to engage with on the internet these days. So an easier way to get views is to just ride the coattails of somebody else's success. And they say that imitation is a form of flattery, but I have to imagine that it is still really frustrating for the original creator to conceptualize a piece of really unique content that they came up with themselves just for somebody else to go, oh, I like what you did there. I'm gonna act out your video, I'm gonna caption it the same thing, and I'm gonna call it my own without giving you any credit for it. And sadly, I don't have to imagine how frustrating this must feel because I actually know firsthand what it feels like to have somebody replicate something that was heavily inspired, let's say, by my work. The first huge video on my channel to blow up was posted on March 25th of 2024, and this is about catching influencers in their lies. This video single-handedly changed the direction of my entire channel. To this day, 2 years later, it's still the best performing and most viewed video I've ever posted. It currently sits at 8.6 million views. This video alone accounts for bringing my channel 145,000 new subscribers, which means that about 17% of my current subscriber base chose to subscribe to me because of that video itself. It was basically like my big break, and my channel has grown very rapidly ever since, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. The algorithm gods were in my favor with that video. They pushed it out so heavily. My analytics show me that most of the views within the first few months of that video going live came from YouTube suggesting this video on the homepage. And I do think a portion of this was pure luck. You really have no idea what videos are going to take off and which aren't. A lot of it is out of your control and it's just kind of in the hands of the algorithm, right? However, it does make sense that that video got the traction it did because it was extremely unique for the time. If you were to search lying influencers or influencers caught in their lies on the YouTube search bar before my video was posted, nothing would have come up. I checked because it wasn't really a topic that was covered in that way before. There were no compilation style videos out there of somebody sitting there and saying, this influencer lied and here's how you can tell. Here's another one and here's how you can tell. Here's another one and there it is, you know? I saw a window of opportunity with that video topic that had not been done before, and I started compiling examples for that video 8 months before I filmed it. I moved in silence in the background for so long, just saving and screen recording things and filing them away on my hard drive for a rainy day, okay? Because it's actually really hard to catch people in a lie. Influencers are very sneaky. They're very good at their crafty editing styles where they cut out a lot of their inconsistencies. And it's rare to find examples where they have slipped up, right? And so it took a long time for me to gather enough material to create an entire video out of. Like I said, 8 months this took me to prepare. So by the time it went live, I do take pride in the fact that it was a really strong video. I am so proud of that video. It was really unique. Yes, some of its success can be attributed to pure algorithm luck that I have no control over, but I do think that that algorithm luck was initially triggered because it was a type of video that had not been done before. It was interesting. It was engaging. I worked my ass off for it, and I do claim credit for that. I do get uncomfortable like talking about my successes in the YouTube space, and the point of me bringing this up is not to flatter myself. It's because unfortunately my lying influencers video was essentially copied and regurgitated by a Russian YouTuber only 6 weeks after I posted it. Here's what I mean. Here are 2 thumbnails side by side. My title said catching influencers lying about their lifestyle. Her title said how influencers lie about their lives. Not the same, but similar. My thumbnail text says they're lying to us, and her thumbnail text translates to they're lying to you. And to be honest, this does not bother me. Yes, they are similar, but many YouTube thumbnails are. That's just kind of how like search engine optimization works. You know what certain words to use and what certain things catch the viewer's attention. There are thumbnail styles that perform better than others, and I'm not bothered by this at all. But the content of the video, once you click on it, is a bit too coincidental for my liking. Some of the examples she included in her video about influencers lying were the same examples I had spent months collecting. She's got the one about the influencer lying about how much money she spends in a single day, when if you look really closely at the receipts, they will show that they're actually all from different days. She also included the example of Nara Smith claiming that she's up in the middle of the night making something to eat, but her oven clock says that it's 7:59 a.m. She also took the clip of this influencer who's just getting out of bed, but she's wearing a brand new Skims PJ set with the tag still on it, which is kind of suspicious. And finally, this clip of an influencer showing off a handheld vacuum cleaner and scattering these perfectly placed crumbs in the drawer, just pretending that it was super messy so that she can use the vacuum cleaner to clean it up. Link in bio, of course. And what's crazy is that the clips she included in her video were screen recorded from my video. This is not a coincidence where she just happened to come across the same examples on her own in the wild and she was also compiling her own video at the same time I was compiling mine. No, she saw my video, she screen recorded my video, she cropped me out of my video, and then she used the clips in her video. And I know that she used my clips because the influencers' names are cropped out the same way, the margins of the clip are the same, and I always make sure to blur children on my channel. I know that this clip came from my exact video because that's the blurring my editor put on it that she then screen recorded to include in her video. She doesn't care about blurring children on her channel. She actually has a lot of videos about children with their full identities and full faces on display. But this clip of a child is blurred, seemingly out of place for her channel because she got that clip from my channel. So this only came to my attention when a viewer emailed me a link to her video and they were like, hey, just so you know, this Russian creator copied your video. And by the time I went to look at it, most of the top comments under that video were calling her out for copying. And not just like one or two people, there were dozens of comments of people all saying the same thing. I'm not gonna read all of these, you can pause the video if you want to look at them yourself, but for example, some of these said, this video is ripped off from another blogger's influencer insanity series. Shameful. This video is a one-for-one, almost word-for-word copy of a video by an American blogger. Why copy a video completely with identical frames and text? You have to respect the work of the original source. Next time you repost other YouTubers' videos, please include a link. The content was completely ripped off from American blogger Hannah Alonso. This video is completely unoriginal as all the examples are blatantly stolen. This is just a one-to-one video by Hannah Alonso who did all of these investigations, compared receipts, footage, etc. And that's the piece that really does bother me the most out of all of this, is that I obviously don't own the rights to any of the clips I showed. They're not my clips, right? I took clips from different influencers and I showed them in my video, but what did belong to me was the analysis. I was the one scrolling for hours and hours and like zooming in on things and comparing numbers and like noticing the inconsistencies for myself. Her video was spoken completely in Russian and she didn't have translations enabled for the video, so I actually don't know if she did copy my script word for word, but many of these comments are claiming that she did, so I'm just kind of taking their word for it. I don't actually know though. And as I said, all these comments were already there when I found out about the video, so it wasn't like I called my viewers' attention to this and then everybody went and dogpiled on her. No, like this was obvious to people who speak Russian. By the way, all those comments were translated from Russian. They were written in Russian to begin with, so that signals to me that like completely random people unaffiliated with me who watched an English version and a Russian version of the same video, they were putting the pieces together for themselves. The similarities were obvious enough to be able to do that. So that's not a good look for her, okay? Just not a good look. And like I mentioned, my video was gaining in popularity in the first couple of months because YouTube was pushing it out on the homepage. By the time her video went live, mine had already gotten 3.5 million views in 6 weeks. So in the eyes of the YouTube algorithm, it was like new, fresh, popular, being served actively on the algorithm to people, reaching way further than my US-based audience, right? And so it was really clear to people, even across the world, that this was a close replica of my video. At the time, I had 165,000 subscribers and she had over 400,000 subscribers. So it kind of, in the moment, it felt like an instance of a larger creator taking from a smaller creator and thinking that maybe she could get away with it because of, you know, like the difference in our audience sizes and the fact that we live across the world from each other. Like maybe our audiences wouldn't overlap to be able to call this out. But people definitely did notice, which is really unfortunate for her. In her defense though, I did just scrub through her video and she did not use all the examples I included, and she included some examples of her own. So it was not a direct one-for-one copy objectively. About half of her video felt like it was copied in the sense that she used the same clips I did, but not the entire thing. I do want to make that clear. And my impression of all this at the time was that it was just disappointing. Like, it's a bummer to see that I worked really hard on this video for 8 months and I was the one that did all the analyzing and the zooming in and the screen recording and the screenshotting and the explaining, and then somebody across the world saw that it was performing well, so they straight up copied big portions of it and put out their own video 6 weeks later. Like, that does suck. But ultimately, there's nothing to be done about it. And I bring all of this up because that's the difference between copying and copyright violations. YouTube is generally pretty good about copyright claims and strikes. It's something that they do take very seriously, but usually only if it is a really strong case, like a direct upload of your video. So for example, if you screen record this video you're watching right now in its entirety and then you go to your own channel and you re-upload it and you don't provide credit, and honestly, even if you do provide credit but you didn't get explicit permission from me, then YouTube is probably gonna flag it and they're gonna notify me going, hey, someone just re-uploaded your entire original video onto their own channel. You might wanna take a look at this and submit a claim. At which point I would fill out a really quick form and that video would get taken down immediately. But then there are fair use protections, which is pretty much how my entire channel is able to operate, where you're taking other people's content, clips of influencers, clips of people in multi-level marketing companies. These things don't belong to me. It's not my content, but I'm allowed to use them in my video because I'm not just re-uploading it to my own platform and claiming that it's mine. I am transforming it. I'm showing you a brief clip so that you can see what I'm referencing, but then the bulk of the video is giving my own commentary, my own analysis for the purposes of education or entertainment. So this is protected under fair use. So therefore, this Russian creator's video is also protected under fair use because the clips that she used didn't belong to me in the first place. She didn't re-upload my video to her channel. She just used the same clips I used and said the same words I said. And YouTube is not going to accept any sort of copyright claim against that video because it's not my video. I don't own it. I don't own the thoughts, right? I don't own the analysis. So I saw it, I was kind of annoyed by it at the time, and then I promptly forgot about it because there's nothing I could do. This is an ethical violation, like it's a thing to do to copy somebody else's work, but it's not a legal or copyright violation. There's no action I could have taken legally, so I just let it go. And I haven't let this bother me. This happened literally 2 years ago. I kind of forgot about it until I was preparing for this video about copying, and then it popped into my mind. I was like, wait a minute, this like actually did happen to me once. And I'm including this example because I think it lays out pretty nicely how people are allowed to get away with copying on social media. Because there are strict regulations around re-uploading content that you don't have the rights to, but there are no regulations around replicating somebody's content and just acting it out for yourself with your own speaking voice and claiming that these ideas are your own, right? That's how copying is allowed to happen on social media because it's a really gray area that's hard to enforce. What I've shown you in this video so far were examples of copying that I have found when I'm scrolling social media, but there are also lots of creators who have called out their copycats publicly, which is really entertaining. So I have 3 examples of different times this has happened. So here's the first one. This is a creator by the name of Hey Keeks on Instagram, and she caught somebody red-handed stealing her content and she posted about it.
I, for one, love a big... Well, I guess I made it as a content creator because I just found my first copycat. Now, I by no means invented vision boards or making them ugly per se, so I didn't think too much of it, but when we decided to take a look at the similarities, these were a bit too close for comfort. Let's roll the clips. Most vision boards don't work because everything on them is the finished product.
Vision boards don't work because they actually just showcase the finished product.
The Lamborghini, the mansion, you standing next to your husband, dancing Idris, flaunting a 4-carat Marquise diamond.
Money, the 6-pack abs, Ferrari, all that crazy Pilates move.
Ferrari, no Lambo!
I, for one, love aiming high for a big, scary goal.
And none of that is unrealistic. I, for one, love a big... Before you even think about going on to Pinterest or Canva
or Pinterest.
I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Am I bugging or did the shoulder flick of the Canva and Pinterest icons seal the deal? It does pose the question of when does content cross the line between inspiration and just being full out plagiarism?
Did she copy her whole caption too? Hold on. Oh my gosh, she totally stole the caption too. Maybe not word for word, okay, but like the format is exactly the same. The first paragraph talking about how they've made vision boards in the past, but they haven't always worked. And then she copied the line, what are your big goals for 2026? Comment the word whatever, and I'll DM you the link to my free Canva template so you can build your own Uggy vision board. Follow for part 2 with the same emojis as well. This is insane. Okay, sorry, I got distracted by that. Back to the video.
No hate to this creator, even though she did block me after my sister commented on the video to flag that she could give me just a little bit of credit. But I don't know. This was kind of funny and also reality check for me in this world of content creation and intellectual property. Anywho, it's been 7 days since I posted my Uggy vision board series, and I don't plan on not creating content anytime soon, so maybe I just gotta get with the program. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Love you. Bye.
I realized I didn't really give any context about what this was for. The original creator, Hey Keeks, made this video talking about how to make like an ugly vision board. It doesn't have to be cute, it doesn't have to be perfect, and she created her own Canva template for you to interact with too. And then however many days later, she discovered that there was this other creator. It sounds like she was maybe Australian, so again, like an example of across the world, somebody else stole this idea, stole the video format, and recreated it for themselves. Surprise, surprise, after she made this video calling out her copycat, the copycat made her account account private at first, but now you can't find her account at all. So maybe she deactivated it, maybe she changed her username, I'm not sure. But sadly, I was hoping to be able to go and find her version and put it up to the original, but it's gone now as far as I can tell. But I would say that running to shut everything down as soon as you've been called out is a pretty clear admission of guilt, if you ask me. This is not a case of simply being inspired by somebody else's work and putting your own spin on it. She was straight up copying certain lines, certain frames, and that whole like shoulder flick thing with the icons. Are you kidding? The same caption too. It's almost creepy to watch. Like that must be so strange for that original creator to be like, wait a damn minute, those are my words, my visuals, my mannerisms. The similarities are way too close to be a coincidence. It was so painfully obvious that the copycat was like, oh, I like this video, let me study it line by line and just, you know, post it to my own followers and pretend that I came up with this myself. Like that is truly wild behavior, so messed up, and quite frankly, exceptionally embarrassing. Please don't do this. Here's another example of somebody calling out their copycat.
I shouldn't be doing this. It's more attention. That's what she wants. But I have to rant. She's blocked, but she's gonna watch this on her alt account, so hi. This girl has built an entire platform off of copying other people. Not like taking inspo from someone. No, I mean like actually copying people, and I'm the main target. Yay. Let me show you what I mean. So we've seen butterfly resin tops, but this is a bow butterfly resin top.
I love a good resin top. So when I saw this bow butterfly resin top,
It's a UV reactive dress.
let's style this UV reactive dress.
It has that same pink iridescent look with all these gold accents.
See this opalescent pearly pink bag to go with. The details are
It feels like jelly.
actually like jello.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Hopefully you get the point. It's not like, oh, I saw this one piece, I want to style it too. It's copying over and over again, saying the same words, the mannerisms. It's so creepy. I don't get building an entire platform off of someone else, and there's nothing I can really do. If you have advice, please let me know. I can't think of anything. But Yuyi, please stop. Please.
This is so wild to me because of the effort that has to go into committing to copying somebody. Not only are you repeating somebody's words and mimicking their mannerisms, but now you're also copying their outfits. This is so premeditated that you are searching for, paying for, ordering the exact same clothing pieces as somebody else in order to be able to copy them identically. This feels like really unhinged, unhealthy behavior. This feels like it goes beyond just copying to me. We're crossing into impersonation territory. It's not a crime to buy the same dress as somebody else, but it's pretty freaking weird behavior to buy it for the purpose of trying to become them in a TikTok video. So the original outfit creator is Taylor, and the person who is copying her relentlessly, her name is Yuyi. And another strange layer of this is that Yuyi resells the outfits when she's done with them. She has an account called Yuyi's Clothes where she'll make a post for the different clothing items and you message her directly on Instagram to buy them from her. So my impression of this whole situation, how this is coming off to me, is that it seems like she will buy the clothes for the purpose of plagiarizing somebody's content, and then when she's done filming and posting that video, she's trying to sell off those clothing items to recoup some of that money. For example, this is the video where she bought the same dress as Taylor and she copied her mannerisms with the same little shimmy thing, and here is that dress for sale on Yuyi's account for $400, which again, not a crime, just a crappy thing to do, to copy somebody's entire sense of style, to plagiarize their videos, and then to sell off the clothes when you're done. And here is a third example I found of an original creator calling out their copycat.
Being misunderstood is the cost of being above average. Okay, well, I've never experienced hate from someone that was better looking than me or from someone that I trade places with. People don't like me. Content creators on this app, what are you doing when people are literally like ripping off your entire brand and trying to recreate all of your content? This is from months ago, okay? I wasn't gonna say anything. I already reposted that. People are clocking and clipping it, whatever, until today. I got a notification on Facebook that I was tagged. This girl has been blocked. Like, she's taken so many things, like ripped them off my back so many times that her followers are coming to my content still and accusing me of copying and stealing, which is hella hilarious considering, you know, all of this stuff she's promoting came from me and most of it's about being original. So
this is how you know that a guy is a loser. Number one, he follows a lot of OnlyFans models, porn stars or just models with the tits up to here, okay? Loser with the capital L. Number 2, he calls his mom for any and every minor inconvenience in his life, okay? He's a mama's boy. Yeah.
Here's mine.
If your
from
boyfriend
months
does any of
ago.
these things, he's
Listen
a
to the
loser.
order.
Sorry, not sorry, but someone needs to tell you. One of the easiest ways to tell the type of man that somebody is by looking at his Instagram following. If it's Lana Rhodes and P-stars in general, you know right off the bat the type of man you're dealing with. Any high-value man or someone that's just not a loser and that is worth putting time and energy into if you want a serious relationship doesn't lust over other women online. That's a loser. Another way you can immediately tell if a man is a loser is if he gets his mom highly involved in your relationship, okay? This is a touchy subject.
Like, she doesn't even care to switch up the order. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I'm getting sick of this. Like, this is disgusting. I have had this girl blocked for months, and then that video was posted today, a direct copy. So, like, gross. How are you still seeing my stuff? Why are you still stealing my stuff? It's embarrassing as fuck. It contradicts everything you're trying to tell your audience that you shouldn't have. What are we doing? You guys, what are we doing about this? Because it's literally like plagiarism. It feels so violating.
Yeah, it is plagiarism, but sadly, the social media platforms don't have a way to really report this kind of thing because, again, it's an ethical violation, not a legal one. Unless it's a direct upload of your copyrighted content, then you can't report it for copyright infringement. For example, here are the options to report a post on Instagram. We've got, I just don't like it, bullying or unwanted contact, self-injury or eating disorders, violence, hate, selling or promoted restricted items, nudity, scam, fraud, or spam, or false information. None of those fit the box of this girl copied my content, right? So if you were gonna report a post for copying, you would think to probably find the copyright infringement form, which is a separate thing that you can just Google it and it'll pull up a separate form. It's a separate process. Here's an example of what the TikTok copyright infringement form looks like. And in all these cases, you have to identify your original content, the content that you believe is infringing on your copyright. You have to give all your personal information, name, email, phone number, home address. And then there's typically a box somewhere to like explain the details of the situation if there's any more context that you want to provide. But on every single copyright claim form across all social media platforms, there will be some kind of statement at the top that says you may not abuse this form, you may not submit false copyright claims, and if you do, your account could be terminated. Like, we take this really seriously. Don't abuse the form. And then down at the bottom of these forms, you'll typically have to give an electronic signature, or you'll have to check certain boxes saying that you are acting in good faith and that you are the authorized owner of this content and you are authorized to be making this claim, which would obviously be no problem if somebody just directly re-uploaded your content without your consent and you want it taken down. But if somebody was just copying your mannerisms or saying the same words you were saying or wearing the same outfit you were wearing or, you know, plagiarizing your video, this would probably make you pause and go, well, I think I have a strong case for a copyright claim, but does Instagram think I have a strong case? Are they gonna think that I'm abusing the system? Is this really worth me risking my account being terminated over? And it's important to understand that these forms are not intended to report plagiarism. They're only intended to report copyright infringement. Again, because plagiarism is just a crappy thing to do, but it's not really punishable outside of academia. But copyright infringement is punishable by law and it's taken very seriously. And this is exactly the gray area that lets copying run rampant. Okay, because ultimately it is really hard to prove definitively that somebody copied you and that you were damaged by it. It's tricky because sometimes you might even think that you're creating original content, but subconsciously you may have like pulled that phrase or pulled this concept for the video from something you saw weeks or maybe even months ago. There's a lot of room for plausible deniability where the copycat can be like, oh, well, I didn't even know that I was copying, or it was just a coincidence, right? It's really hard to prove these kinds of things. Saying, Your Honor, this girl wore the same shirt as me and she made a video of a similar format as me and she repeated some of the same talking points and opinions that I had and I'm really upset about it and I want her to be punished for it. This would never hold up in court, okay? But it does somewhat hold up in the court of public opinion. Copying someone is not a punishable offense in the right of the law, but it does make you look like an unoriginal copycat who needs to imitate other people because you're not creative or original enough to make something unique to you. In conclusion, all of this to say, it is really frustrating and annoying and hurtful when somebody takes your work and passes it off as their own on the internet, and it is even more frustrating when there is essentially nothing to be done about it. And I can understand why these last three creators that I've shown you have sort of taken to their platforms to out their copycats, because that's sort of the only line of defense you have. There's no way to formally report this. There's nothing you can do to get the video taken down. The best you can do, I guess, in these situations probably feels like exposing the copycat for who they are, power so that there is damage done to their reputation, which then, you know, feels sort of like payback for copying you in the first place. And I wish I had a more positive way to end this video, something more encouraging I could say about like, here's how you take down the copycats, but I don't, and that sucks. I would love to have some kind of call to action like, here's how we tackle this issue, but unfortunately at this point, to my knowledge, there's nothing to be done. But I am willing to stand corrected if somebody has like a suggestion in the comments or something I don't know about as far as tackling copying on social media. But for now, it just feels like this is something that happens. It's really unfortunate that I think you should be aware of, that kind of just adds to the smoke and mirrors that is social media these days. It's hard to really trust anything you're seeing. It's hard to enjoy much of what you're seeing, because even if you come across a video that you think is really entertaining or really cool, now you're having to second guess if they're even the original person to come up with that idea or if they just stole it from somebody else. So that's all I have for you today. Sorry to leave you on such a bummer, but it's just been bumming me out for so many months where I'm just like, I don't even know what to believe anymore, and I don't know who to give credit to anymore. And it does really suck that some people can build their entire platforms off of imitating other people. So with that, that's everything I have for you for today's video. Don't be a copycat. Stay safe on social media. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.